My name is Theo, and I've never been the kind of person who buys into ghost stories. No Ouija boards, no sleep paralysis demons, no cursed VHS tapes. I'm a rational guy. Grew up in a house where logic was king. My dad was a science teacher, my mom, an IT manager. If something didn't make sense, we diagnosed it until it did. But there's no diagnosis for what happened to me. It started when I bought a used smart TV from a pawn shop off Eldridge and 9th. It was dusty, had a faint cigarette smell clinging to the frame, and the plastic was slightly yellowed. But it was cheap, just $70. I was broke, recently laid off, and needed something to keep me company in the silence of my one-bedroom apartment. You'd be amazed how loud loneliness gets at night. The shop owner was weird, though. He barely looked at me, just rang me up and muttered, "No refunds after sunset." I laughed. "You mean after purchase, right?" He looked up, dead serious. "No, after sunset." I should have walked out right then, but hey, $70. I chalked it up to a weird sales pitch. The first 2 nights, nothing happened. I binged old shows, muted commercials, and scrolled through apps. Everything worked fine. But on the 3rd night, just after 2 a.m., I fell asleep on the couch. That's when I heard it. Static. The loud grating kind. Like when you're stuck between channels on an old tube TV. I opened my eyes, confused. The screen was pure snow. No apps, no signal, no error message, just static. And in the middle of it was a shadow. I don't mean the reflection of a lamp or a coat hanging nearby. I mean something inside the screen standing still. Vaguely human-shaped. No face, no movement, just dark and barely distinguishable in the noise. I blinked, and it was gone. I turned the TV off and went to bed. Just a glitch, I told myself. Dust in the internals. Old tech acting up. But the next night, at exactly 2:13 a.m., the same thing happened. TV turned to static on its own. Same shadow, same time. That was when the dream started. In the dreams, I was standing in my living room, but it wasn't mine, not exactly. Same furniture, same layout, but the colors were off. Too gray, like everything had been drained of life. The TV would be on, showing the static, and I'd hear whispers, dozens of them. Male, female, young, old, but all overlapping, like they were trying to speak over each other. And through the sound, one thing was clear. He watches. I started recording the TV every night. I set up my phone facing the screen with the timestamp showing. I wanted to prove it to myself. But every time I reviewed the footage the next morning, it was just normal TV. No static, no figure, nothing. Only when I watched it live with my own eyes would he appear. And he was getting closer. By the 5th night, I saw him standing right at the edge of the frame. He wasn't some smoky shape anymore. He had details now, shoulders, a head that tilted unnaturally far, like he was trying to read my thoughts. No eyes, just pits. The static would buzz louder when he leaned forward. My nose would bleed, my ears would ring, and I couldn't look away. I unplugged the TV that night, left it off, didn't even touch it, but the screen came back on its own. 2:13 a.m., like clockwork, static, shadow, louder than ever. I threw a blanket over it and shoved it in my closet. That seemed to work. No static the next night. I thought I had finally beaten it, until I opened my phone the next morning. The lock screen had changed. A photo of my apartment taken from behind me while I slept. The timestamp, 2:13 a.m. That was when I started researching. I posted anonymously on forums, reached out to tech subreddits, even joined a horror Discord. One guy responded, username, no signal now. He said, "You're not the first. It's the TV. But it's not haunted. It's marked." I asked what he meant, and he sent me a Dropbox link to a folder filled with screenshots, videos, and police reports. People had seen the same figure, described the same static, and the same time each night. The common link? All of them had bought electronics from the same pawn shop. Every single one. Most of them were missing now. Official causes varied. Suicide, drug overdose, some just disappeared. But one video stood out. A guy sitting in front of his TV, pointing at the screen. He whispered, "I turned it off. I destroyed it. But now, it's in the mirrors." That night, I covered every reflective surface in my apartment. TV, phone screen, even the microwave, everything. But as I passed by my bedroom mirror, I saw it. A smudge in the corner, a black handprint, not mine. I made one final plan. I called a friend who worked at a recycling plant and begged him to take the TV and grind it down to pieces. I drove across the city with the thing wrapped in blankets, double-checked the backseat every few minutes. I didn't care how crazy I sounded. I needed it gone. He agreed, took it off my hands, and promised it would be destroyed by nightfall. That night, for the first time in days, I slept and dreamed. In the dream, I was standing in my living room again. Everything was gray, except this time, the TV was gone. But he wasn't. He stood in front of me, in the flesh, no longer inside the screen. He had no mouth, but I heard his voice. "You saw me. That was enough." When I woke up, every screen in my apartment was shattered. My phone, my monitor, my backup TV I had boxed away in the closet, every reflective surface cracked. But one mirror was intact, the bedroom mirror. And etched into the glass, barely visible unless the light hit it just right, were 3 words. "Now you watch." It's been 4 days since then. I boarded up the apartment. I keep the lights on. I don't use screens. I don't look into mirrors. But sometimes I hear static in the walls. And at 2:13 a.m., something knocks once, then waits, because he's still watching. And one night, I think he'll want me to watch back. And that concludes our journey through the shadows for tonight. If you made it this far, you're either braver than most, or already marked by what you've heard. Tomorrow is day 10, and trust me, the darkness only deepens from here. Subscribe, keep your lights low, and I'll see you at sundown. Until then, stay scared. Good night.